Everybody good?
Yeah.
I thought today was a good practice. We came back today, tried to get some things corrected, obviously, that we saw Saturday. But it was a good up-tempo practice. Again, we're continuing to install, as the days go on. So, again, there's added learning every day, mixed in with going back and correcting some of the things that we were not pleased with in the scrimmage. So, but overall today, really, I thought they came back and it was what I thought a physical practice. And again, that's one of the main objectives for this whole spring. So. We've got a long way to go. I think we're making some strides. I don't think there's any question about that, and we'll continue to improve. But overall, was pleased with today.
When you looked at the video from Saturday, anything stand out, good or bad?
Well, yeah, depending on which side you're looking at. We put the ball in jeopardy too many times, with it either laying on the ground. The turnovers, we've got to, from an offensive perspective, we got to protect the football better. There's no question. And the thing that was glaring is that we've got a long way to go on the run game. And I think it was the first time we put everything together, and still there's a lot of thought process going on. We got to zero back in on the technique and fundamentals to make you a physical football team. But we didn't run the ball like we wanted to. Conversely, defensively, I thought we gave up a couple of explosive plays that we really got to cut down on, both in the passing game, and in the running game. Again, we did create some turnover possibilities. But the consistency of what we're doing defensively right now, we've just got a long way to go. And again, there's a lot of learning still going on. But overall, I thought the main thing was that there's a lot of great teaching moments, in that scrimmage. So, again, a lot of improvement to be made, but I feel like we did make some strides. But those are the things we got to focus on moving forward.
What's the situation with Greg Robinson? He's got a family situation, right?
Yeah, he's got a family issue, and he's we're expecting him back, at some point soon.
For you, the quarterbacks, what did you see from them?
Well, I think that Kyle's making strides every day. I don't think there's any question about that. I think he's gaining confidence. I think he's feeling like he's, getting a better grasp of the offense. I think he's at times productive. Certainly got a long way to go in terms of the whole big picture, but I think he's making strides daily. For a young guy, Zeke stepped in there. He made his share of mistakes, which we know that that's going to continue to happen. But those are the main two that got the snaps. Again, Clint, we're trying to work Clint in a little bit more with his arm, and he threw a little bit more today. But those are the main two. Again, Kyle is making some really big strides.
Is Clint able to make those down the field throws yet?
Well, right now we're still kind of weaning him back into the passing game. And the more confidence and the more strength he gets, obviously, in his throwing arm, the more we're going to be able to do that. Right now, it's more controlled, and it's more of a weaning back into the game type scenario.
Any word on Ladarius Phillips?
Ladarius Phillips is elected not to play football, so he will not be on our football team, and we're going to wish him well. And again, he decided that he's not going to play.
It's his decision.
Yes.
So who is your other fullback in practice other than Jay?
Well, we're using Jay, obviously, and then, our tight ends and being able to move our tight ends around, with kind of two tight end personnel, one of them basically being the fullback position. So we're rotating, several of those guys around at that position.
What have you seen out of Brandon Fultz this spring, where he's come from last fall?
Well, I think he's gaining more confidence. Again, he came in last fall, learned a new offense. Now he's got to turn around and do it again. So I think there's a lot of thought process still going on with Brandon. He's got to become a more physical football player. There's no question about that in my mind. He is making strides. But again, he's thinking a lot out there when we just want him to come off the ball, and block. We know he can catch the football. I don't think that's ever been an issue. But the physicality of the run game and him blocking an edge for us, that's where he's got to significantly improve.
How about CJ?
Same, I could just ditto.
It's that same thing.
Exact same thing. And they've got to be able to do that. They've got to be able to put their hand on the ground, and they've got to be able to block these defensive ends. So that's really a point of emphasis with every one of our tight ends. And both of those guys have a long way to go in that regard.
And how do you, in spring, I mean, obviously, if the offense is out there running up and down the field, then the defense is going to be unhappy, and vice versa. How do you kind of tell the difference between what's good? This is good for the offense as opposed to bad for the defense, or vice versa.
Well, I think you focus in on the little details of every position. An offense can look really bad when 10 guys are doing well and one guy's not, and conversely, the same thing holds true with the defense. So, you don't necessarily measure it, in these, when you're trying to, build a foundation for an offense and a defense. I think you've got to take the big picture in mind. And the big picture is, we know all 11 have to be, working together, and they've got to be clicking together. But the reality of it is, an offense or defense can look really bad if one guy's out of place. So I think we got to keep everything in context. Every individual's got to do, execute the details of everything we're asking them to do. And so that's how you really got to measure it. And that and their effort, and those things that we don't want to coach effort. Those guys ought to be competing for a job.
Right.
And so, but I just think that you got to take 11 different scenarios on each play on both sides of the ball and really coach it that way. Again, to make sure that the machine is well oiled. So we've got a lot of individuals doing great things on every play, and then a guy here or a guy there, and again that's consistency. So that's what we're working for.
How tough is it for a guy like Patrick Miller? I mean, a guy that should still be in high school is kind of thrown in there and has to take a bunch of snaps in his first scrimmage.
Right. It's difficult. I mean, if you look at him and Shane Callahan and Zeke Pike, like I said, they should still be going to prom here in about a week. So it's, and some of our defensive ends, some of our speed defensive ends, they can make that real difficult on these guys. So I'm really proud of all three of them. There's a lot of fast-moving parts out there for them. Patrick Miller played a bunch of snaps the other day, obviously with Greg not being here. So I thought he did a really, really nice job of just getting in that scrimmage and mixing it up, And so him and Shane and Zeke, they're all in the same boat. A lot of moving parts for them. So I'm proud of where they're at. They know they have a long way to go, but they're going to be all right.
Did you give Woodarius a release?
Yes, I'm going to give him a release.
Unconditional?
Yes, wherever he wants to go.
Obviously, it's kind of an ill-timed injury for Clint to be going through this. I mean, that's his first time with left foot and all that. Is there much on the line for him in the sense that if he can't throw, you already kind of know what he can do, and he can go into two-a-days in the same spot, even if he was throwing right now?
No, I think that he's got to continue to get better quick. I don't think there's any question about it. It was unfortunate timing. But the reality of it is you either take reps and you improve, or you watch, and you're not getting the same opportunity to improve. So I think it's a big factor.
If Kyle had a great next 2 weeks, could he leave as a starter? Leave spring practice? I'm
not going to say that. Again, with this quarterback race, we're gonna, we'll decide who the starter is when we feel comfortable with that. And so again, there's no time frame on it. There's no time limit on it. They just all got to keep working.
How well do those guys seem to have adapted and keep fitting into this offense?
Those guys being who?
Quarterbacks.
Again, it's a day-by-day progression for those guys, and they're getting better. There's no question in my mind. If you're a quarterback and you've got the it factor, which we hope all of our quarterbacks do, and you understand football, whatever the offense is, you ought to be able to run it and do the things that we're asking you to do within that offense. So they've all picked it up. They're all in a good place. I think mentally, it's just a matter of getting out there and actually taking the live reps.
How's Devante Sigler doing now that he's added all that size?
Devante's been well. He's a little beat up, a little dinged up right now, but overall, I feel like he's done a nice job.
Was he at with Scrimmage this weekend?
No, he wasn't able to go through it Saturday, but he's getting healthier as we go. And you know, again, he was making some strides as we go. But he's still a real young player, and he's learning. But you know, again, he has gotten bigger. He has put on weight, and he's got to learn to carry that weight. But up to this point, I feel like he's done that well.
Coach, kind of going back to the scrimmage, talking about kind of lack of run game. Do you think that's more where you're at from an installation-wise, offensively? You know, how many different runs did you guys have? I mean, because the defense defenses kind of catch up normally at halfway through the scrimmage, especially the first one. Can you just talk about, is that more of an advantage for the defense? Do you see what I'm saying, as opposed to the offense running diverse plays?
Well, I mean, you know, we're building base foundations with plays, and you know, a lot of times in your earlier parts of scrimmages, you know, defenses have an advantage some, in my opinion, when you're installing a lot of new things offensively. But you know, we try to keep the scrimmage fairly base so that everybody knows who's blocking who, and it was really a physicality, come off the ball, you know, knock people back on both sides of the line of scrimmage type of venue Saturday. And so there were some good things in the run game, but not near where we want to be.
How does Jake Wash, from what you've seen so far, how does he fit into this offense as a guy who could contribute?
Yeah, I really feel like he's a guy that can contribute to us. I think he fits in really, really well with, you know, the personnel grouping that, you know, that uses a fullback. And so I think that he brings a lot to us in that regard. I like he brings a physical toughness and a physical mentality to us, you know, and I think he's going to fit in well.
When do you expect the official word on his waiver?
I don't know, Phil. I really don't know. We've got a heads up every day, but you know, compliance will obviously alert us when the final verdict comes through.
How's Craig Sanders handling the transition to the new defense?
Craig's doing well. Craig's doing well. He's a hard worker. He loves football, so he's doing a nice job.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good day.